Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda.
How are you, Charles? Good. Welcome Mondays at Maggies. How are everybody?
Yeah, thank you.
Obviously, we've got a fair contingent down in Canberra, so let's send out a cheerio to all our folks in Canberra.
Hey, good on you.
Yeah, Jackie and Jodie Lowe and all that's been involved in participating in taking this convoy all the way down to Canberra. And if you're watching on your phones, folks, we send you all our love, and especially the Monday and Maggie crew down there. We'll see you here sooner than later. So we'll get the proceedings starting. So today's theme is 2.0, right? This is our second round of the tape. So round one's already gone. We're heading into round two. Let's hope we can get a knockout punch sooner than later, which would be fantastic. But once again, thank you everybody for being consistent and showing up.
I only found out about it because of Stop the Rot.
Bring me next time, I'm sure.
I didn't know who you were then.
Is that how you found out about this?
Yeah.
Oh, well done, Stopper. I'm so glad. There's Caz over there.
Yeah. So, okay, so how do you want to start proceedings? Do you want me to keep going or? Alrighty. Good morning, Satan. Margaret, how long is this charade going to start? There's got to be a time, there's got to be a breaking point in this. We're starting our 2.0 week today. So we're not going away. And my pipeline, my dream is to have this lawn filled with more of the public once they start waking up and becoming far more agitated with the way that they've been treated. But we're going to stick to the plan, as we always do, Margaret. So my name, this is for my wife. My name is Michelle. I've lost confidence in the government. I have multiple sclerosis and cannot physically appear. Therefore, I authorise my husband to speak for me. I they have sufficient cause, I instruct you to dissolve Parliament and issue the writs for fresh elections for every council, state parliament immediately. No person previously on the public purse is to be instated. Margaret, your days are numbered. May I continue? I instruct you to coordinate with the Governor General, Samantha Mostine. I want all the documents Senator Bill Heffernan presented to the Royal Commission released to the people unredacted immediately. Nothing to be touched with those papers. I instruct you to pass a law that bans all lobbyists from influencing government's decisions. I instruct you to organise our court system so there is no pedophilia, incest or corruption of any kind. I instruct you to place a ban on chemicals being dumped into the sky, being for weather modification or otherwise. I instruct you to pass laws that make our schools places of education, not indoctrination. I instruct you to pass laws that make our hospitals places of healing, not harm and profit. I instruct you to pass laws to make it impossible to physically, mentally, or spiritually harm people. May I remind you that you are a public servant and as such serve the people. We pay your wages. Margaret, the veil has been lifted from the people's eyes. We see you. By the light of Christ, we see you. We'll be here every Monday until you do as instructed. Margaret, the jig is up.
Hey! Great speech. Well said, Michelle. Well said.
Governor, remember me? My name's Phil. I've lost confidence in the government. Do you remember when we were hated, shamed, patronised, mocked, vilified, ignored, threatened, abused, ostracised and demonised because we tried to warn people about mandating untested medications 3.5 years ago? Because I remember, how could I ever forget 37 of the ones who mocked me are dead now that I know of. Many more have health issues and are aging rapidly. Until next week.
Yay!
Great Australia.
Good morning, Maggies. With sufficient cause I am here. My name is Lee. I've lost confidence in the government, or should I say the corporation. Again, I instruct you to dissolve parliaments, issue writs for fresh elections for every council and state parliament immediately. We instruct you to coordinate with the GG, Samantha Moyston. We want all those documents that Senator Heffernan produced to the Royal Commission to the people unredacted immediately. We want to see their faces on the news because we don't trust you. Funny enough. Now, I saw a little sign the other day and it said the flu vaccine was created 80 years ago and we still have the flu.
Yes, repeatedly.
And then I thought, well, hang on, you have a measles and a chickenpox vaccine, and you only have it once, ever. But the flu you're supposed to have every year. So I thought, and then I noticed Codral flu tablets advertising back on TV. Remember to soldier on with Codral. So now it's okay again to go outside about and around other people when you're sick. That's encouraged. But with the China virus, you could be affected without being sick. Think about that. That's weird. You know? Right? Yeah. And then I did a little digging and I noticed this. Healthtimes.com.au. Pharmaceutical giants sued over ineffective cold drugs. Now, this was the 22nd of December last year. Lawyers at JCA Sadler filed a class action for millions of customers alleging they were misled by Johnson & Johnson over-the-counter medications, including Codral Day and Night, Sudafed PE, and Benadryl PE. Tablets containing, and this is the hard bit, phenylephrine, which replaced pseudoephedrine. Why can I say that one, not the other one? Anyway, there's a Brisbane ear, nose and throat specialist called Dr. Joe Lynn McKenzie, who said that the replacement was not a decongestant and it's unconscionable and deeply unethical for corporations to sell healthcare products knowing that they don't work when there's been decades of studies.
So-called research.
See, Margaret, we've got an educated bunch here. Anyway, let's keep moving forward. Next.
Yeah.
Thank you. Brenda.
Margaret Beasley. I am Spirit Brendan. You are nothing more than a delinquent idiot. Now, for the people who don't know, for Australia to be defined as and how we come to be under occupation. Let's have a little history lesson. The Portuguese and the Dutch never settled or successfully claimed the mainland because it was already inhabited by the originals. Some call them Aboriginals or Aborigines. All have different meanings. They have traded but never made claim to the land, whether it was peaceful or violent trade. We all have to ask the originals that, but going by a treaty was made in 1873 against slavery may indicate that it was never so peaceful. In 1770 or earlier, the English came on the scene by Lieutenant Cook, who was captain of the ship, did not set foot on the land down under. So in their full deceit and deception and calculated fraud and terrorism, malfeasance registered Australia in 1770. When the word includes a legal sense, it excludes anything else. 1. Australia, when used in geographical sense, includes each of the following. A. Norfolk Island. B. The Coral Sea Islands. C. The territory of Ashmore and Carter Islands. D. The territory of Christmas Island. Australian Federal Police Act 1979, number 58 of 1979. 1. In this act, unless the contrary intentions appear, Australian capital territory includes Jervis Bay territory. Authority of the Commonwealth means a body, whether incorporated or unincorporated, established for the public purpose by or under the law of the Commonwealth, other than a body that, under the regulation is not to be taken to be authority of the Commonwealth for the purpose of this act, or malfeasance because they know exactly what they were doing, looking for uninhabitable land to claim, to put their new slaves to populate, so we do all the work for them, leaving them to sit back and drink tea and eat scones. All while we are busting our backs working in a vegetable garden worth anything if you grow one spud. Where is your reward? The Australian government or anything associated to Australia or the Commonwealth is a dead legal fiction, which will involve you personally in any debt that they create. If you sing Advance Australia Fair, it is a song contract. I still call Australia home, my master. Where is the individual contract signing wet ink that we agree to be governed? The acts and statutes are given full force of the law by the consent of the governed. If you do not agree, it is not happening, meaning no contract. Ab initio. For a contract to be legitimate, must have 5 elements. If not, or it will become a boilerplate contract, null and void in a court of law. Offer 2, agreement 3, meeting of the minds, full disclosure, live pulse signature. Where did we ever agree to pay rent for our own property, car, land and pets, etc.? This land could never be claimed by foreign entities because it was inhabited by the originals, and the fraud never reversed or removed over the passing of the time. Everything in a box is dog Latin. Fraud is fraud. Summary, so if there's anything Australia or the Commonwealth and or combination are corporations. Australia, Commonwealth of Australia, the Australian Federal Police, the Australian Bank and the Australian Government, etc. These are all a foreign corporation ruling by decree over the people, and you have no right. Margaret Beazley, just like Samantha Mostyn, these are fake people, imposters, and you need to be ripped out of the fucking building and hung on the spot.
Amen.
Thank you and fuck you very much.
Anyone else?
My goodness. Do we have anyone else to take up the mantle? I might be able to follow that. I don't know. That's a pretty rousing speech. Very much.
Margaret Beazley. We've been coming here for a year. We're here again in this new year of starting again. And we aren't going to stop. We've had a good 100 people at the gates of Governor General's house yesterday. And none of those people are going to stop. We know what is wrong with this country. There's a lot of corruption. We know the vaccine program is poison. The spraying of the skies is harmful to people, plants, trees, crops, and human health and animals. The whole environment will be destroyed by this ultimately if you do not take control and stop it. What we want is all of that corruption stopped. We don't want to go with the WHO treaty. We don't want to be part of the UN or the WHO anymore. We want you to either put a stop to all of this or come down and step away from your seat, and all of you resign. We want fresh, uncorrupted individuals who are vetted and accountable on a daily basis in government, in a very small government. Those in government in the future will have absolutely full tracking and tracing of their movements and of their accounts and account keeping. All of their expenditure, public and private, every single share, stock and bond that they own, including, buying into the Australian water corruption and the sale of our fresh water to other countries. I could go on. All of their accounts will be monitored, tracked and traced. It is you who need to be tracked and traced, not us.
Yes, well said.
We will not stand for a digital ID of any description whatsoever, except the ones who will be in the future government will be. They will have the ID, not us. We will not bow down to your demonic and over tyrannical control of us, because actually we the people are the ones in power, not you. You only represent us for as long as we're happy. And by the way, Margaret, we are not happy. We want every single parliament in this country, state, federal and particularly local, dissolved. And we will start fresh with free people who are uncorrupted and will be held highly accountable.
No pedophiles.
So, dissolve the parliaments, Maggie. We do mean it. We're not going away. We're sick of this. And come and speak to us, please.
On a final note, we will never forget the worst part of human history. The worst misinformation and propaganda from our governments and trusted bodies. We were the crazy ones, they said. We were the only ones sharing the truth.
So Maggie, got a bit of thinking to do. And we know that we've been pressing it on your conscience, if there is one. But like I said, history does change. And we're going to change history. And we'll remember the people that created these heinous crimes against the general public and this nation of ours. And all your corporate mates, Margaret, that high Supreme Court, right? But Mondays at Maggies has even stolen that from you. You're now a podcast.
Did you want to say something, Caz?
I haven't really prepared anything, and I'm a bit busy here.
I'll give you something.
Just because.
Governor, with sufficient cause, I appear. My name is Peter. I have lost confidence in the government. I instruct you to dissolve parliaments and issue the writs for fresh elections for every council and state parliament immediately. I instruct you to coordinate with Governor-General Samantha Boston. I want all the documents Senator Heffernan produced to the Royal Commission released. stay here every Monday until you do as instructed. We were down in Canberra yesterday, and I've sort of only just realised just how bad your criminal organisation is. With taking children from families that then the families have to fight like hell to get the children back. There's none of this that I've ever seen before on mainstream media, and quite the amount of children that do go missing from good families. It's time you come clean, I think. Step down in that office and remove yourself. Thank you.
See, Margaret, the people are realising that all government around the world, military personnel, military contracts, police forces, are running nothing merely than a pedophile ring. And you sit on the top of the chair in state government. You know what I find quite ironic yesterday, after leaving the Governor General's yesterday? There was a number plate on an automobile, and on almost small writing underneath the actual plate, on the plate, it says 1788 to 1988. I think you know where I'm going, Margaret. Isn't it when you went from the Commonwealth to a private corporation and Parliament House and private political parties that are registered for your private banking systems? Quite evidence, if you ask me. All the hidden knowledge and all the hidden symbology and everything that's hidden in plain sight is actually starting to show itself for what it is. Margaret, what are you really going to do when thousands and thousands of people start realising that they got fucked over, and not only that, the people were almost begging or asking for you and others to do the right thing and listen to the actual people, which in fact you turned your back, because that's what a criminal organisation that has established itself for so long will not hand over all the stolen goods. And what your corporations have committed against the people. Find it ironic how many people in high predominant places are actually fucking child molesters and have suppression orders, or if not suppressed, covered up so deeply that no one can get to the real answers. But in saying that, when it comes to the 28, we know it's a lot more than 28, Margaret. What the fuck are you really hiding? Just like these trolls on social media. I guarantee you, I couldn't imagine what I'd find on their fucking devices. It's a network of filth, Margaret. It's either you're innocent and you come and address the nation, or at least the state of New South Wales, which is an estate with an ABN number for your own leisure, and many others. What are you really going to do? Going to stand there? Because I guarantee you, this fence here, under the amount of manpower, we wouldn't need tools to cut it down. I reckon people power can rip this fucking fence down and storm you. You got one of two choices. We know it's your economic, but here we are on the other side of the fence. We know you can hear us. And it's our echo, no mic. Because it's not our echo, no, it's economic. It is your economic for private financial privileges. Just look at the word economic. Here we are, we're on the end of the other mic, on the other side. You sit there hearing us and it's called echo no mic. Because it's not our economy, it's yours. You're a filthy grub. So either do the right thing or keep hiding and it shows who you truly are. We're not going to ask for an appointment to see you. I think we have the right and the privilege to ask you to come to the gate, fence, whatever you want to call it, and speak to you through the fence, if you're that scared. But Margaret, all these people wanted was for you to come to the fence and actually listen to what we have to say. Are you going to keep sitting in there? Or are you actually going to do the right thing and come to the fence and actually speak to us individually or as a group, so that way you can understand and comprehend why people are struggling and what we want? It's our future, and you motherfuckers keep robbing us from our future. Life was not meant to be dictated to, ruled by decree over, and struggle day in, day out, week in, month out, year in, year out. Life was meant to be enjoyed, not to struggle.
Yes.
Charles, yes. Yeah, I will indeed.
I think you're actually amazing, fabulous, needs to take another flavor.
Well, everybody, we've got some guests here. Today we've got Caz from Stop the Rot, Sack the Lot. Can you get a view of Caz? We'll share this. Go out and Caz runs along with Dave Guru, who was recently interviewed by us on our podcast, Mondays at Maggies. There's a new episode out today, actually, which is about who can we trust. We clearly can't trust Governor Margaret Beasley. Well, everybody, next week is going to be a very emotional time for me. It's my final ever protest for Infected Blood Australia. My mother died last year. She was killed by the Australian government. As many Australians are now being depopulated, we're being murdered by leftists who are in control of our government at the behest of the World Economic Forum. But before all this COVID nightmare was commenced, I spent decades of my life, ever since a kid, trying to let Australians know about what was formerly our nation's deadliest medical scandal. Tens of thousands of Australians ended up getting tainted blood, HIV, hepatitis B, and hepatitis C from tainted blood transfusions. We're talking about thousands of women who are given tainted blood transfusions in childbirth. What a way to start a family. Do you think any of them got any help? Nope. What about haemophiliacs? Australians with the bleeding disorder haemophilia. Do you think any of them got help? I tell you what, it's a rare condition, but 1,750 of them ended up getting HIV, hepatitis B, and hepatitis C, with hundreds of them being children. They were killed by manslaughter. I went to Australian Federal Police about it last year, and they opened up a case file, but I have to tell you now, there are many child survivors who say the police haven't even got back to them. And I have to also confirm that I suspect the police do not want to investigate the manslaughter deaths of these children. And I believe the reason for that is because they have found the culprits. They know that it was the Labor government that was experimenting on those kids. They know that it was criminal perverts who were doing it to make money off little babies. And so they had to murder them because they'd be witnesses if they survived. The police know that. Police know that hundreds of children were unalived, killed by doctors who worked at the Commonwealth Serum Laboratories. And police know that one of the public servants was a guy called Brian McNamee, who in the early 1990s, you know what he was doing? He was knowingly distributing tainted blood treatments to Australian children, okay? And then, when the Labor government found out, do you know what they did?
they allowed him to privatise the Commonwealth Serial Laboratories so that he and other perverts who harm kids for cash could go on and make hundreds of millions of dollars from a public servant to hundreds of millions of dollars. Don't you love it? Don't you love it for harming kids? Don't you love it? Well, after 30 plus years of being an activist, I'm actually getting bloody tired. I'm very tired, yeah. And I found out that everybody's in on it. So I found out that Channel 9 know, so they know all about it. That's why, sorry, excuse me, madam. That's why they only gave me a website-only stories. We're not allowed TV stories. Thank you so much, Channel 9. Thank you for keeping Australia's tainted blood transfusion scandal from the public. Thank you so much. It's just so you can get advertising revenue from the sellers of blood, CSL, Australia's largest healthcare company, are selling our blood. So guess what? Monday, July 14th, 10:30 a.m., I'm asking you to stand with me one last time. We'll be at Sydney's Town Hall Square to demand a new blood bank. The current one is abusing Australians en masse. Our blood supply is tainted. They're selling our freely donated blood for profits. What more evidence do we need? On that day, I'll be registering donors who would like to be part of a new blood supply that's for unvaxxed blood. We don't want spike proteins. We don't want all these contaminants. We don't want heavy metal toxins in our blood. We want safer blood. So that's what I'll be doing on Monday, July 14 at 10:30 a.m. The ABC Australia, over 30 plus years, do you think they gave me four corners when I asked them for thousands of Australians given tainted blood? Do you think the 7:30 report gave me one show? No. Channel 9, give me one show? No. They're all in on it. We've been betrayed, everybody. So I hope you can join with me one last time before I leave this bloody earth. What a waste of a life. Hey, I saw entire families wiped out by the tainted blood transfusion scandal. I saw parents get elderly and older, hoping that they get help for their kids. Then I saw them die, and then I saw their kids die too. Thank you very much to the Australian Federal Police, who made it very clear they will not go near children or their manslaughter deaths. And the reason for that is because, you see, I found out something in 30 years of being an activist, and I'll tell you what it is. Scandals have a glass ceiling. You see, when bureaucrats perpetrate murders, or when government doctors do it, they never get investigated, okay? That's why if you're a serial killer or a criminal pervert, there's only one job for you, and that's to become a senior bureaucrat. I'm telling you now, there's no accountability. Dr. Peter Schiff was a government doctor who murdered hundreds of children in the 1980s. Sydney Morning Herald knows. Channel 9 knows. All these major institutions know, but they don't do a thing because he's got lots of money. He's a former bureaucrat who made lots of money killing kids. And so next week, July 14th, 10:30 a.m. at Sydney's Town Hall Square, we're going to need a new blood bank, and I'm going to retire from wasting my life. When my mum died last year, I tell you what, it ripped my guts out. She put up with me for decades talking about this bullshit, and we still don't have any justice. But next week, we're going to begin the process of getting a new blood bank. And thank you very much, Caz, and thank you very much, Stop the Rot, Sack the Lot, for turning up at Mondays at Maggies, where we gather here every Monday at 11 a.m. to let that thing know we know what's going on. Thank you.
Is that it, Franco?
That's it.
Very good. Hey, Charles, jump in and I'll do an interview with you and Franco. Just have to take my chair and I'll spin everything around. Yeah, just I'll get there. I'm sitting there. We'll just end it with an interview with everyone. I'll just spin this around. Charles, you take the seat.
Charles, come sit here, bro.
And I've just got to adjust this. Yeah, you take the seat there.
I heard the podcast the other day with Guru. Yeah, it was great. I listened to it in the car.
So here we are. We've got Franco and Charles Mackenzie. Very honoured to meet the great Charles Mackenzie. And like, we're just going to finish it off. And Charles, you have an amazing way of addressing, like, you're just really passionate about it because you've lived it, like, obviously. So it's what it, like, just the passion that you have for this. So is it going to clash with Monday at Maggies?
No, not at all. We're going to start 10:30 a.m. next Monday, and we're going to walk all the way down here, okay, from Sydney's Town Hall Square. So it'll just be there at 10:30 a.m. We'll let the Australian Red Cross Lifeblood know that we know, okay, we know that they've been covering up for decades thousands of tainted blood transfusion victims, women in childbirth, children with bleeding disorders. They know. And we're also going to let them know that we know that they're selling our blood. They're selling our blood for profits. How outrageous. It's supposed to be a voluntary blood supply. We're supposed to donate blood for altruism. It's supposed to be for the benefit of your mate, okay, or a brother or sister, someone, for a fellow Australian. And this Australian Red Cross Lifeblood are pulling the wool over our eyes by selling it for profits.
And who's the patron of the Red Cross, bro?
And the patron of the Australian Red Cross is Governor Margaret Beazley. You can't make this stuff up. That's why it has to end here. It's the natural ending for the protest next week.
It's right here. Oh, it's like a clown show. It's outrageous.
But it's a deadly clown show.
No, I know.
That's the thing. It's a deadly clown show. When you work it out, you know, a lot of people talk about when they wake up, right? I don't know how we define waking up. You know, one person's waking up might be another person's sleep. But what I think I've woken up to is that we are run by criminal perverts. Okay, absolutely. I mean, I'm just being honest. They're figureheads. They love being figureheads. They love the ceremony. They love all the stuff. But really, what this is we're being farmed, everybody. And we're being farmed by the big player in town, which is pharmaceuticals. And the fact that Big Pharma wants more than anything else is they want Margaret Beazley's. Because these are the collaborators. I mean, it's hard to find people that would go along with murdering their own people. But when they find them, they hold on to them. So they're looking for a Margaret Beazley. Typically, they're looking for, even though they're supposedly very intelligent, they are actually low IQ, very low IQ. It's very important that they be low IQ. And you know, for example, we talk about Reverend Bill Cruz, who's a national living treasure, and he's got the intellect of an amoeba. And I don't say that to be rude. I don't say that to be rude. I say it to save lives, because he's actually now trying to inject every homeless person with a flu jab, and he thinks that's good for them.
Figured insane. We were there just only a few weeks ago, right? And as we pointed out very, very clearly, no punduri, no manjari, which basically means no jabby jabs and no food. You know.
Can you believe in Australia?
Yeah.
Like,
what's that about?
Can we used to have soup kitchens, right? Where even though you were down on your luck, you know, there'd be a soup kitchen someplace where you could have a feed and not be lectured about your health, right? Not be told that Bill Gates has to inject you with something. You literally can't get a feed now as a poor or homeless person in Sydney without someone trying to coerce you into Bill Gates's latest product. And let's be clear what they're doing here, everybody. When the Rev Bill Cruz Foundation coerced Sydney's homeless into COVID jabs, they were depopulating the homeless and poor. I mean, wow. Wow.
Yeah, exactly right.
So outrageous.
Absolute insanity.
All right, guys. So, look, here we are. We've got the mobile studio set up, something that I'm very, very proud of. And we are going to be taken out by A Covenants Arising, the guy who wrote this as a tribute to what Jackie's doing. Yep. So, thank you, Charles. Thank you,
Can I tell them? joinhighadventure.com.au if you want to get one of these caps. The money is going to pay for lawyers, and lawyers start working on the infected blood scale in just a few weeks.
And we've vetted them.
Be part of justice. Be part of justice.
And thank you very much to the Monday at Maggies crew.
Fantastic, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Caz. Thank you so much.
Come gather Australians from city and plain. With our Constitution's might, we'll break these chains. The Parliament's stolen what's ours by right, but the Covenant calls us to stand and fight. For the Commonwealth's power is ours to claim. The Covenant's rise and will kindle the flame. They've trampled our charter from 1901. With treason and fraud they think they've won. Their laws are unlawful, their oaths are void. our sovereign birthright nearly destroyed. For the Commonwealth's power is ours to claim. The covenants rise and will kindle the flame. They've poisoned our water, they've crushed our land. With foreign deals, they've tied our hands. From mandates to taxes, they've brought us low. But the people's will is now set to grow. For the Commonwealth's power is ours to claim. The covenants rise and will kindle the flame. Our shield, the law's our guide. We'll strike down their statutes with truth on our side. A bank for the people, our wealth restored. No foreign yoke shall rule us no more. For the Commonwealth's power is ours to claim. The covenants rise and will kindle the flame. So sign the covenant, stand firm and free. With God's holy blessing, our destinies keep. Like ancestors bold, we'll guard this land. For justice and freedom, together we stand. For the Commonwealth's power is ours to claim. The covenants rise and will kindle the flame. For the Commonwealth's power is ours to claim. The covenants rise and will kindle the flame.